Thank you. Time now for Ask the Expert. Today is the first day of Lent, so a lot of people, of course, eating fish on this Ash Wednesday.
However, the majority of Americans do not eat enough fish throughout the year, which may be partly because of reports about fish safety. Registered dietitian Lori Meyer joining us this afternoon to talk about the truth. I mean, fish generally is pretty safe to eat if you know what you're doing.
If you know what you're doing, and depends on who you are. But I mean, the populations who eat the most fish tend to be the healthiest. I mean, they live the longest, they have the less chronic diseases, and so fish is really an important part of the diet. But it can be, can have mercury, PCBs, which, they can cause problems. Mercury itself is a neurotoxin. It can cause minor problem is headaches. More significant would be neurological problems, and in children, it can actually decrease their IQ. So we want to be careful about mercury content for pregnant women and children in particular. The FDA, however, has been concerned about fish consumption because it has been going down. And so they've issued, and they're just about this year, they're going to release their latest guidelines, but they're recommending about 8 to 12 ounces of fish per week, which is about 2 to 3 servings of fish per day, but to choose the low mercury fish. So that's what we really want to be concentrating on.
So let's talk about what's safe, what's the safest, what you should avoid.
So, the bigger the fish and the older the fish, the more mercury that it's going to bioaccumulate. So those are the fish that we really want to be careful about. And if you are a woman in childbearing years or children, you should not eat shark, swordfish, king mackerel, or tilefish. If you're a person who already has been diagnosed with a mercury toxicity, you also should avoid those. The limited amounts would be albacore tuna and tuna steaks, no more than once a week on those. And then the safest fish are going to be your salmon, your whitefish, trout, sardines, cod, perch, pollock, shrimp, and a lot of those are fish that people probably will be eating tonight.
Yeah, they covers the fish fry.
Rest assured that you're not going to be getting a big mercury load in your fish fry.
Your deep cold water fish,
Right.
generally.
Generally.
So talk about how to cook your fish. I mean, because you can get a beautiful piece of something and really screw it up in the pan.
I think that's the other reason why people are not eating as much fish, because they're kind of afraid of it. And I find, one of the easiest things that you can do is to poach your fish or to bake your fish or to bake it in paper, whether it's a parchment paper or an aluminum foil. It's almost, it's seamless, and it's almost foolproof, because you put your fish in with some vegetables, a little olive oil, or even a little bit of wine, put it in the oven at 350, 15 to 20 minutes. Your fish is usually done in that time, and you don't really run the risk of overcooking it. But boiling and poaching and baking and grilling are all good ways, and they also are going to preserve the omega-3s. There is some data that shows, however, that deep frying your fish does reduce the omega-3 slightly. The other problem is that you're also adding omega-6 in that vegetable oil, so the whole purpose for eating fish is kind of gone when you're eating the deep fried.
Reducing our mercury toxicity.
Well, the good news, and this is some new research that's coming out, they're really looking at the selenium content of fish. Selenium is a mineral that actually binds to mercury. So the higher the selenium in your fish, the better that fish is going to be. You're not going to get mercury depositing in your brain or in your organs. And so all of those fish that we looked at that are safe, they actually have high selenium contents, also halibut, mahi-mahi, sole. So if you like any of those fish, rest assured that they're going to be good. They're also finding a combination of selenium and vitamin E may actually be more protective. Brazil nut, one of your best sources of selenium outside of the fish. Nuts in general, hazelnut in particular, good source of vitamin E. So making sure you get enough of those in the diet. And then also something odd, eating strawberries along at the meal with your fish actually helps to bind some of the mercury.
Really?
And then just making sure that you have a healthy gut. And I love fermented vegetables because they really help keep the good bacteria growing in the gut. And so keep that in your diet as well, and you probably are going to be okay.
Fermented
You are
vegetables.
pushing fermentation regularly
Every
here.
chance I get.
All right,
They're
Laura.
that good for you.
I don't think that would work on the dinner table tonight.
Got a question for our experts? Send an email to asktheexpert@tmj4.com. You can also leave a voicemail. That number is right there on your screen.